braving rain, snow, mountainous terrains, storms, and now sandstorms that have taken him through the UK, Europe, and to the Middle East. Birmingham, London, Amsterdam, Berlin, Prague, Vienna, Ljubljana, Venice, Paris, Brussels, Cologne, Sofia, Bucharest, Istanbul, Tbilisi, Azerbaijan, Baku, and Jordan have now all hosted Save Soil events. Today, we're in Tel Aviv to spread a message of ecological awareness, that saving soil is vital to maintain life on our planet. Help us spread and share this message on social channels using the hashtag #SaveSoil and by tagging the account @ConsciousPlanet.
Okay.
As a generation, we have an opportunity to bring ourselves back from a brink of a crisis and protect the future of generations to come. We'd like to play you a short video now which explains some of the science behind the Save Soil movement. Thank you.
We are talking about climate change, carbon emissions, and global warming and various other aspects, but we are not addressing soil. Soil is the habitat upon which zillions of lives thrive. Once there is no richness in soil, then you have forsaken the planet in many ways. Every responsible scientist in the world and the UN agencies are clearly saying we have only 80 to 100 harvests left. That means approximately 45 to 50 years of agricultural soil left on the planet. By 2045, we will be producing 40% less food than what we are producing right now, and our populations will be 9.3 billion people. The food shortages that could manifest in the next 25 years, the consequences of that is unimaginable. Civil wars will unfold across the world once there is food shortage. What we are facing now is soil extinction. Why is soil becoming extinct? Where is it going away? What is happening to our soil? We must understand, if you add organic content to sand, sand will turn into soil. If you remove all organic content from the soil, soil will become sand. In normal agricultural soil, the minimum organic content should be between 3 to 6%. The most minimum is 3%. At least this minimum to keep the soil alive, to keep the soil as living soil is a must. Agricultural soils across the world, the depletion is so heavy, in most countries, more than 50% of the topsoil is already gone in the last 100 years. The nutrient levels have dropped significantly. The level of micronutrients you would get from your food in early 20th century to what you are getting from the same food now has dropped 90%. If you ate one orange in 1920s, what you got from it, now in 2020, if you have to get the same, you will have to eat 8 oranges. This is what we have done to our food.
Soil is the biggest ecosystem on the planet, and so few people know anything about it. 1 teaspoon of healthy soil probably contains more microbes than there are people on Earth.
The microbial life in the first 12 to 15 inches of topsoil is the basis of our existence. It is this magic beneath our feet which has produced the life that we are. This first 12 to 15 inches of soil is the basis of life for 87% of life on this planet, including you and me.
We have to begin to recognize that what we call our soil, Mother Earth, is a living organism.
Open soils, ripped open by ploughing, open to sunlight, is the basis of destruction of microbial life. So the focus should be on agriculture, the focus should be on seeing that land is under shade as much as possible, some kind of shade, grasses, herbs, bushes, trees. Conscious Planet is launching Save Soil movement to bring about a policy change to regenerate soil. As a part of this, I'm 65 and I'm riding 30,000 kilometers, a lone motorcycle journey, 30,000 kilometers across 24 nations to activate support from the citizenry to assure the governments long-term investments will be appreciated. So it's extremely important that soil regeneration is enshrined in the policy of every government on the planet. We must change the narrative on the planet that soil is a wealth, a legacy we have received from previous generations, and we have to pass it on as living soil for future generations. We are in a cusp of time. If you do the right things now, in the next 15 to 25 years, we can significantly turn this situation around and regenerate the soil. But if we allow this to progress like this for another 30 to 40 years, after 40 years if we attempt this, then it could take 150 to 200 years because that much loss of biodiversity would have happened. From 21st of March for 100 days, the whole world, every human being on the planet should talk soil. So we must hear the word soil, save soil everywhere to see that the narrative on the planet changes towards the most vital aspect of our life, the soil. Each one of you should reach as many people as you can to make this happen. Many global leaders and influencers are already participating in the movement. Be a part of this and let us make it happen.
From my part, as much as I can contribute.
And the movement that you are taken up, I could not expect any more God's blessing than that.
Sadhguru, and this campaign is so important.
We're going to save the soil. Do your part.
And saving the soils.
And our planet's future depend on it.
Sadhguru, save soil, my friend.
Save soil, let's make it happen.
Antigua and Barbuda is part of the Save Soil mission.
We commend you for what you're doing. That is why we are happy to sign the MOU.
The science and philosophy that backs the thought behind the movement is tremendous.
Save soil, let's make it happen.
Save the soil.
We know what we must do, so let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make this happen.
Let us make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Envisioned by Sadhguru, Project Samskriti offers classes and performances of Indian classical arts, including music, dance, and martial arts. These intricate arts have been employed for thousands of years as spiritual processes. The artists that are about to perform have invested in these arts not just as hobbies, but as a way of life. The performance will now begin with an offering by Radhe Jaggi, a classical Bharatanatyam dancer.
Project Samskriti is an endeavor to nurture and impart India's classical arts. Designed by Sadhguru, it offers programs to learn powerful chants, music, Bharatanatyam and Kalaripayattu, an ancient martial art form conducted by the rigorously trained students and alumni of Isha Samskriti. The art forms are imparted in their most profound form as possibilities for inner growth and transformation.
Project Samskriti is not today's idea, it's been in incubation for nearly 25 years. So this is an effort, not to save the art form alone, but to bring up humanity to a higher level of existence within themselves.
Namaskaram. One with a fierce heart of fire, draped in the rivers and oceans, with hair of open sky and her body the ground beneath our feet. Mother Earth, our source and sustenance. Time is ticking away as we exploit this strong and gentle source of life. To build our lives, our comfort, our luxuries, we have ignored her call, her plea. As her children, we suffer the consequences of our actions upon her. Time is ticking away. It's time to reinvigorate and celebrate the mother that has birthed us, fed us, and the one who will embrace us into her bosom in our death. O Mother, in celebration of your grandeur, in concern for your well-being, in love with all that you are to us, we dance in tune with your rhythm as we are only a part of you.
Beneath my feet, your soil. When you rise, you become a tree. Again, you fall as a leaf. Who are you? You come up as a crop. You give me life as food. Whether I am alive or dead, you are the only refuge. Who are you? You come as water. You come as milk. You come as honey. Who are you? If I eat, it is soil. If I breathe, it is soil. If I die, it is soil. Oh, my mother, who are you? Soil. In the root, there is a stalk. In the stalk, there is branch. In the branch, leaves, bud, flower and fruit, all rooted in soil. That is not our making. The soil, the very soul of all life, shall neither perish nor is created, but in a constant turnaround. A tree and a termite hill, the rough hide of an elephant and the fine silk of the spider, the beasts that you kill and the people that you love, all a recycle of soil, soil and soil. The magic of soil is it turns death into life. Depleted soils will not quench the fire of hunger. Unquenched hunger can burn the very world. This is a generational responsibility. Save soil. Let's make it happen.
Thank you to Project Samskriti for that spectacular performance. "48 days of Sadhguru's Save Soil journey have brought us countless moments of fun, joy, and some of danger. Are we with him? We'd like to show you a video now that highlights some of the key moments of the journey so far and how the world is beginning to say Save Soil in one voice.
It's a great pleasure for me. These beautiful Caribbean nations are going for this first.
This memorandum of understanding that we are signing, it will also bring some technical assistance to the Caribbean region.
This is a historic moment because here is the first step to turn around.
You are probably one of the most famous Indians, and what you're doing today is really important because people like you who have a wonderful following of millions and millions of people, and what you're doing with that is so important with saving the soil.
If you want to say, I love you to your child, you must just say save soil, because it is a more committed way of saying I love you.
Every single one of us needs to get behind this really, really important mission.
It's an extraordinary campaign. It echoes what we in the Commonwealth have been aspiring to do for a number of years.
Next 100 days from 21st of March, we want the whole world to talk about soil.
It is not about the motorcycle, it's not about the journey, it's not about the song, it is about moving people on the planet. Make it happen, huh?
Nobody spoke about soil like Sadhguru does.
I think if we all contribute, then we have a really strong voice.
There has been so much excitement and everybody is so excited to hear Sadhguru.
This is our time on the planet. What we do here is our business. Let's do the right things.
I honestly didn't feel a part of the movement before. Obviously, I'd never met him. Seeing what kind of a following he has and how impactful it is, I really feel like I just joined a global movement.
Graffiti artists supporting this Save Soil movement, wanting to inspire the youth, and youth being the major population in most parts of the world today, all graffiti artists, to whatever walls that you have, make sure that you use this. One of the most beautiful cities of Europe.
It really resonated with me, the message that we have to save our soil.
It's our common issue together. It's not for one nation, for one person, but we as people have to unite and to solve this.
This is a celebration of human beings coming together to do what they need to do. Had a wonderful meeting with the Agriculture Minister of Slovenia. Reshimo Press! All of us have been part of this destruction. The only way is all of us become part of the solution also. Riding on to Italy. Italy is raining heavily tonight. Here in Venice.
It's like a wave of hope.
Is necessary for the future.
Over 2,000 years ago, this eternal city made the mistake of over-farming the region, and the erosions that caused did tremendous damage, and that was also the fall of the city at that time. So, the Romans of today should never make that mistake once again.
And we are very happy that we are aligned in our message to really hide the profile of soils. And we believe that is very much needed.
Young people getting into farming is very good. That's the future of the world. Here we are in Geneva.
I think it's a message of urgency, but it's also a message of hope. So I would really like to thank Sadhguru for his leadership.
The global movement led by him addresses the soil crisis by mobilizing people around the entire world.
It touches your heart, and his message is strong.
This massive fountain in the Lake of Geneva is lit up for Save Soil today. With Save Soil colors of blue and green, you cannot stop this. The moment is on. It's going to be on till the policies are done. See, when people want it, it definitely will happen. There's no question about it. Tell me, will it happen? In this cold, slippery road and winds are picking up speed, no matter what the hell, I have to keep going. You think this is a problem? Relentless commitment to what you do. That is the only solution. Save soil, let's make it happen.
We already have one action, which is an MOU to be signed between Isha Foundation and 4,000 Initiative Soils for Food Security and Climate for cooperation in achieving our objective of creating a healthier soil.
We were just sharing exactly the same objective, increasing carbon content in the soil.
I'm really humbled by your campaign, Sadhguru. What you are doing is really impressive.
First, I would like to thank Sadhguru for this campaign. I'm quite amazed and thrilled by it.
I was very honored to be on the stage and be able to actually express that his mission is what we need.
It's fantastic. France has been great. Well, Brussels.
Let's put together and work on a common message for all to save a resource that determines our future. Save the soil.
We should all stand up and make the most impact we can to create a real change in the world.
And then a smashing evening at the main event. And a super enthusiastic crowd committing themselves to make this happen.
It's heartwarming to see everybody come together.
Save soil, on the move. Let's make it happen. Just look up the news and see in the last 4 months, how many governments have started talking about soil because they see it's picking up momentum. But if you create 3 to 4 billion people talking about soil, that's it. That will be the main conversation in the government.
Save the Soil is a very important movement that we support as UNCCT. We would like to propose to the world to do whatever they can to protect the soil, because it is our future.
Save soil, let's make it happen.
I need someone to show me the way. I need someone to show me the way.
The Education Ministry in Germany has now come into the picture officially and asked all the children to do artwork to support Save Soil movement. Good, Arjun, wonderful. Congratulations that you wrote to the Prime Minister.
Let's make it happen!
So, on the way to Bratislava, well, the road surface is not great, too many puddles of water, so can't maintain very high speed. It's great that all of you are here in Bratislava. Nobody ever imagined 100 years ago that we will have to save soil of all the things.
Thank you for coming to Slovakia. It's wonderful, and I'm very happy that with your campaign.
Would you like to come in the kitchen and cook with me a little bit?
Why not? Without soil being rich, food won't be rich. Without food being rich, our bodies will not be of full potential. What do you call it?
It's a Sadhguru-san.
Table 12. The old heroes always built something which stands up like this, but the new heroes are those people who will nurture the soil which always lies beneath our feet, never stands up. This wonderful city of Belgrade, the UNFAO said something which really deeply hurt me, is the soil that we are consuming right now belongs not even to these little children, belongs to the unborn child. This is an expression of our love and responsibility for our own lives and the future lives.
I love the message that he sent and how he broadened it, that it's everybody's responsibility.
I think there is a great potential for a good collaboration, partnership with the campaign Save Soil and what we are doing as a government. We can make it together.
It's very important, bringing a certain sense of love and celebration towards the land that we walk upon. It's just after noon, but temperatures are around 2 degrees, morning it was below zero. Not a weather for motorcycle for sure. Going from Sofia to Bucharest, organize yourselves whichever way you want, form groups, come together somehow and see this happens.
Sadhguru reminded me that I have a voice.
The people from Istanbul were really amazed by Sadhguru to appear, and they were just so happy to see him.
This many people, if all of you are committed and you spend 15–20 minutes a day to enhance the message, I think I don't have to go on riding like crazy. Yesterday I rode 18 hours, can you believe this, through Bulgarian roads?
Is an honest expression of his wisdom and love for humanity, I think.
He's been riding through very, rough terrain, rough roads, dusty construction sites.
It was a long drive and we were getting a little late for the live event at Tbilisi.
He, right at the end, maybe 5 minutes before the event, decided that he couldn't stop for a break.
In the traffic, he was just removing his jacket and gloves and throwing in the car just to make it on time.
The whole purpose of this movement is to bring this home, that when you walk up on the soil, you know it is the source of your life. Keeping it alive is the most important thing. Will you make it happen? We could have touched, or nearly about 1.2 to 1.3 billion people have spoken about soil since 21st of March. But that's not good for us. We want 3 to 4 billion people.
It's a gift from God for the people, for the earth, for the soil.
We must save the soil, we must plant the trees, we must replenish the forests, we must save our planet.
Wonderful, thank you so much for standing up for soil.
يا تربة الحبيبة وعدا منا وعهدا والعهد لن يخيبا.
Right now, soil has turned into sand because we pulled out all the organic content. We are taking the life out of the soil. If we don't put that back, all the other concerns which are important to be attended to, but none of them will matter.
This is not for us, this is for him and his generation, hoping that they would have a better future with a better world. Save soil.
It's now our honor to welcome to the stage the Director General of the Ministry of Economy and Industry of Israel, Dr. Ron Malka.
Honorable Sadhguru, audience, it's such a great honor and pleasure to welcome here Honorable Sadhguru coming to visit us in our modest and humble country. It is such an experience to have Sadhguru here coming with this great message of saving soil, which should be kind of a wake-up call for everybody. And with this message and with this campaign, I'm sure that it will bring something which is very important to the world, and of course Israel should and would like to be part of it. Just a few minutes ago in a private meeting with Honorable Sadhguru, I just mentioned that for Judaism, saving soul is something that is very well known, and we are so much aware of it in our tradition, in our religion, what we call Shnat Shemitah. Every 6 years we stop working the land, saving it, understanding and internalizing the importance of respecting soil and keeping it. So I think that for us, it's something very special to engage with this great vision of saving soil. As the foreign ambassador of Israel to India, I can tell you about the relations, the great relations between Israel and India. I think that Israel and India can be a shining example for the world how much two countries can collaborate, can create partnership, and especially in agriculture, the best mutual agriculture project between any two countries in the world is between Israel and India. We have now more than 30 active centers of excellence of agriculture in India, initiated by Israel. It's a mutual project of Israel and India, training more
more than 160,000 Indian farmers every year. Thank you. Again, one more thing important to mention is the International Solar Alliance, which India is the initiator and the leader in the world. India is leading an initiative, global international initiative, which is called the International Solar Alliance, and Israel is a partner of it. Israel and India are partners in leading this green energy initiative, and this is again something that is about conserving and preserving our very respected and important world, planet. So again, thank you. Again, I think that Honorable Sadhguru should see his visit here in Israel as something which is very special, very unique, and given the relations, the flourishing relationship between Israel and India, we are more than happy to share the vision and to, as I said, to take this vision that Sadhguru is bringing with him and to make it like a turning point from here and forward, and to keep and respect soil. Thank you so much, Sadhguru, for giving us this honor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those powerful words. We're also delighted to welcome to the stage Miss Tamar Sandberg, the Minister of Environmental Protection of Israel.
Wow. Namaste. Shalom. Welcome, Sadhguru, to Israel, to Tel Aviv. First of all, I want to thank you for stopping by for us in such a short notice to our country, to our city, and sharing with us your international and inspiring journey to save soil, to bring people together and to raise awareness to one of the most urgent but less talked about ecological, economic, and social problem of our time. The land of Israel, and when I say the land of Israel, I mean literally the land of Israel, the soil of Israel, is suffering from worsening degradation, loss of biomass, and erosion. Actually, over 90% of the agricultural land in Israel is in danger of erosion, which is over 16% of the size of our state. Our state is small but very rich. And actually millions of cubic meters of fertile soil moves from agricultural fields directly to drained canals, streams, and seas. This creates, in addition to a huge loss of soil, which is crucial natural resources that is renewed at a very slow pace in processes that take thousands of years, very serious environmental problems such as water pollution and floods. Soil erosion, degradation, and loss of fertility are not new problems. In fact, they are known from the beginning of the agricultural revolution. In our area, ancient cities such as Jerusalem and Jericho were known in their frequent use of terrace as a method to prevent soil erosion on the one hand and allowing water to continue to flow on the other hand. We still see these terraces in those areas and work to preserve them as an archaeological, environmental, and heritage site for all the people of all the religions in our region. Like many other ecological problems, climate change plays a very big part in the fight to save soil. Climate change has a major impact on soil fertility and moist, and changes in land use and soil can either accelerate or slow down climate change. Therefore, we will bring tomorrow, actually, on Sunday, the first time in Israel, a climate law that will be approved in the Israeli government tomorrow. So your visit is very timely, Sadhguru, because we know that without healthier soil and sustainable land and sustainable soil management, we cannot tackle the climate crisis. We cannot produce enough food and adapt to a changing climate. The answer lies in preserving and restoring ecosystems and letting nature thrive and capture carbon from the atmosphere and actually do this work for us and maybe restore what we so often destroy. Actually, friends, we are past the days where the economy and the environment were parallel or even enemies. The biggest and most powerful economies in the world now understand that there is no choice but to transition fast to a world where we live beside nature, uses nature resources sustainably and with sacred respect instead of over-exploiting them. There is no future for us without nature, without wildlife, without natural water resources, and without healthy soil. And I want to thank you, Sadhguru, personally, and on behalf of this huge crowd that came here in such a short notice, and thank you for celebrating with us and accepting us to your community. I'm actually amazed to see this really amazing audience. So I want to thank you, Sadhguru, personally, for bringing all these people together and for connecting all of us and reminding us that the circle of life is dependent on the sustainability of soil. Thank you. And save soul!
Thank you to Ms. Sandberg for those inspiring words. And now, in the absence of the Ambassador of India, we kindly request Mr. Rajiv Bodwade, Deputy Chief of Mission and Charge d'Affaires of the Embassy of India, to please come to the stage.
Shalom everyone, Erev Tov and Namaste. My warmest greetings to Sri Sadhguruji and his team, Her Excellency Tamar Sandberg, Minister of Environment, His Excellency Ron Malka, DG of Deputy General Ron Malka. It indeed is a pleasure for me to be here today at this event organized for the Save Soil movement, a cause which is pertinent and important for all of us, not just human beings, but for all organisms. As I understand, our planet, our universe exists in harmony. It exists in an equilibrium. And whenever that equilibrium is broken, it leads to catastrophe, it leads to chaos. Human life and soil have been living in this equilibrium. We are born from the soil and we exist, and one day we perish and we are reintegrated into the soil. The ancient cultures of Israel and India did understand this. As we understand Adma and Dharti Ma in India are reverential. In India, we give the status to the soil, to the earth, that of our mother. And our cultures understood what is the importance of the soil in conserving biodiversity and its importance for our very existence. However, with human intervention, we have indulged in practices such as over-industrialization, unsustainable agricultural practices, deforestation, which has ruined this delicate balance that we had. This is manifested in the soil degradation that we are seeing. By soil degradation, I mean that the organic portion of the soil is depleting. The organic portion is the living part of it, the biodiversity, the soil that lives, and we live because of the soil. The living portion is dying, and it's happening at an alarming rate. Very soon, this world might be facing food scarcity, food shortage, and which will eventually affect our very existence. So it gives me a lot of happiness that one human being has taken the onus on himself to sensitize the world about this problem and how we can develop ways and means to tackle this problem. Sadhguruji, I'm so glad that you have taken the Safe Soil movement, where you are passing through 25 countries, 30,000 kilometers in 100 days, telling the people the importance of this particular subject. I do hope you succeed in making ecological issues as one of the major goals of the globe, governments around the globe. I really do sincerely do hope so. Sadhguruji, you have also come to Israel at a very opportune moment. This year, as you know, that India celebrates 75 years of independence. And also, it is the year where India and Israel are celebrating 30 years of establishment of full diplomatic relations. Our relations are only getting stronger by the day, and we also have a robust collaboration and cooperation in the field of agriculture and water. Our scientists, our governments, and our agriculture and water tech startups, they are collaborating with each other, finding ways, finding innovative solutions in terms of increasing agricultural productivity, saving soil, water conservation, water desalinization, and there are various fields of collaborations. It is an exciting time. And I do hope that this collaboration keeps on improving and increasing as years pass, and the best of the minds from both the countries come together in finding not only innovative solutions, but scalable solutions so that a large portion of humanity is affected and the quality and the condition of life of the majority of the humanity does improve. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sadhguruji, for coming here. Toda Rabba. I would also now like to invite Sadhguruji to the stage. Also, Her Excellency Tamar Sandberg, His Excellency Dr. Ron Malka, please.
Sadhguru would like to present the policy recommendation document to the ministry.
Both to Ron and ma'am, this is a policy framework handbook that we made for 192 nations. It's taken us over 2.5 years. For the region and specific for Israel, these 192 documents that we made are mainly a handbook. One important aspect that tomorrow this policy is, you're making the policy or passing the policy, I wish I was here a year ago to influence that policy but anyway.
It still has a way to go, so…
Okay. So this is for the region, this is the West Asia region, this is for Israel and this is the soft copy. Ma'am, if you can look at this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Turn around. Thank you so much. Turn around. With it, please. Hello, please. They want to be the crowd. Hey!
For those that were struggling with the live voice translation app, it is now working. The code should also be on the screen. Thank you so much.
Kalo na janati tava jananam. Kalo na janati tava samapanam. Drushto maya tava mahakaraha Yogeshwara Kala Kala Yogeshwara Kala Kala. Namaskaram and good evening to every one of you. I just came in yesterday evening and it's been crazy and I haven't picked up the Hebrew word for good evening or anything. You say it, that's good. Salam is easy, yeah. Well, this ancient land, which has been through so much, indescribable amount of life's experience, pleasurable and painful, many things. Well, I was just thinking, because I never know what to speak, you know. So, the most ancient thing or the most ancient person that I've met in my life was my great-grandmother. Those of you who are looking at me through your third eye, okay? It'll go on the YouTube immediately, you can download it from there, don't waste your time like this. Be with me, come on. Because when I see a camera images, trees, so. My great-grandmother, who lived to be 113, 113 years of age, she just wouldn't die. Her husband died, a few of her children died, some of her grandchildren died, and a few great-grandchildren died, but she just not dying. Because she got married at the age of 14. So many things happened, but she lived and lived. Why am I talking about my great-grandmother? Are you okay if I talk about my great-grandmother? So I saw her in many different ways. I saw her only when she was over 100, when I'm 4 or 5 years of age, and she was quite crazy, in a nice way. But people said, she's a devil of a woman. Not because she did something wrong or anything evil. She had a laugh which would shake the street. If she laughed, she would laugh so loudly that the whole street would shake. Those days, in that generation of people, it was believed a woman should not laugh loudly. Even here, a woman should not laugh so loudly. The women of today, do you laugh? I want to hear some. Because, no, more than the women, I really pity the men. How did they live with women who cannot laugh? How to live with them? Hello? Of course, women must have suffered too, but look at the men, how to live with women who can't laugh. There's no laughter in the house. How to live in that bloody house? It's not a home really. Hello? So she laughed, so people said she's a devil of a woman, she's got a devilish laughter. I always thought as a child, if devil is the one who laughs, maybe that's where we should be. Because if joy is not the way of your life, then something wrong with you. Hello? Hello? Then I saw her doing strange things, and she would be, she had hair till beneath her knees, just more than that, like she's over 100 years old. And she will be dancing crazy and crying and laughing, tears drip, coming all over. Tears are all the time on, and she's laughing like crazy and dancing. People say, oh, she's crazy, she's got some devil going. All I could see was the woman was just ecstatic, simply by herself, over 100 years of age. And in the morning, when they give breakfast to her, she takes this breakfast and feeds the ants, the sparrows, the squirrels. More than 50–60% of her breakfast always goes for these creatures, and she will simply sit there, not even eating what is remaining, sitting there, seeing the ants eat her breakfast, and tears would be dripping down. I thought, why this old woman is so… I was only like maybe 5 years of age. Why is she so emotional about these ants? I'm like, the ants, I'm 5. Not now. So, I'm thinking, what's happening? I go and ask her, what's happening with you? Why are you so emotional about the ants? Then she would laugh and say, someday you will know. It took me another 20 years to know. One day I'm just sitting with my eyes open on a small hill. Any of you been to Mysore? I heard a lot of Israelis come to Mysore. Yeah. So in Mysore there's a hill that is called Chamundi Hill. There, it's a kind of a hill
where if we, as children, if we want to camp, we go to Chamundi Hill because it's in the city. And if you want to trek, it's Chamundi Hill. Then later on, if you want to test the strength of our muscle, we cycle up Chamundi Hill. If you want to test our motorcycles, we ride up Chamundi Hill. If you want to party, we go up Chamundi Hill. If you fall in love, you have to go up Chamundi Hill. If you fall out, you must go to Chamundi Hill. If you have nothing to do, you go up Chamundi Hill. So, I'm into business and doing so many things, and one afternoon I found an hour and a half where I had nothing to do. Without even thinking, I just rode up Chamundi Hill. Parked my motorcycle, went up, sat on a rock. I know this place very well, and I sat there with my eyes open. Within a few minutes, I did not know which is me and which is not me. What was me was just all over the place. And I thought this lasted for 10–15 minutes, and when I opened my eyes or when I came to my normal consciousness, it was 4.5 hours gone by and tears were flowing. For the first time in my adult life, me and tears were impossible. Here tears are flowing, every cell in my body is dripping ecstasy, really blissed out. Then I think I'm a super skeptic person and I think maybe I'm going off my rocker. And then I consult my closest friends, something like this is happening to me, I'm just bursting with blissfulness. I say, hey, come on, what did you drink? What did you pop? This is all the questions that came. So essentially, I had no context to what was happening to me. All I knew is I have hit a gold mine and I don't know what it is. I did not grow up in any kind of spiritual traditions or anything, I just grew up wild. Still stayed that way. So, I sat down and looked at it and experimented this in many different ways. Then I realized, if I keep my mind or if I keep my hands off my mind, if I create a little distance between me and my psychological process, every cell in my body bursts into ecstatic states. Then I went through this process many times and then I said, this is it, I have discovered something and I will make the whole world blissful. Who would not want to live blissed out? I couldn't imagine. Who would want to live blissed out? Hello? Who? You don't want to live blissed out? Who would not want to be blissful? Don't raise your hands, that scares me. At that time, I thought nobody would not want to be blissful. And I was 25 years of age. The world's population was 5.6 billion people at that time, so I made a clear plan. In 2.5 years, I will make the whole world blissful. Here I am, it's 40 years, huh? 40 years. People say we have touched over 2 billion people today, but 2 billion is not my idea of the world. Now the population is 8 billion. So I know I will die as a failure in my life, blissed out failure, but a failure, because I see people are committed to their miseries no matter what. Somehow, one way or the other, people have made commitments to their misery and they refuse to come out of it. They think somehow being miserable is a solution. They believe that unless they're miserable, they won't do sensible things. Yes, if you're walking wantonly, the simple thing to do is put a pin in your heel. Oh, then you'll walk carefully. Hello? Is that the way to fix you, I'm asking? Is that the way to fix a human being? But people are committed to misery, so these 8 billion people, I know I will be a failure, so with this Save Soil, I reduced it by 50% and said we will do 4 billion. Are you with me? Half the population, we must make it, hello? At least half the population, 50% marks at least I must get in my life, please. because this has become important now. When it comes to soil, what is the problem? Why I'm saying this is, in the last 2.5 years, I've been speaking to many agricultural ministries around the world. What I see is, still most ministries in the world refer to soil as an inert substance that they're going to fix by adding nitrogen or phosphate or some stupid thing. They are still not recognizing soil is the largest living system, not just on this planet, in the known universe. This is the largest living system, zillions of lives in the first 15 to 18 inches of soil. A handful of soil has 8 to 10 billion organisms in it, just a handful of soil. And we are thinking it's inert. First of all, who we are here as we sit here, we're just a consequence of the life that's happening in the soil. Not just by the food that we eat, even in terms of evolution. Just to give you a perspective. You know there is a… Who do you think first invented or discovered or made up this idea of cooking our food with fire? Who was it? Is there a story in the Jewish culture? Who did it? Okay, usually they say it's a caveman. I'm sorry for the ladies because they say it's a caveman. Oh, no. So, well, we don't know whether it's a caveman or a cave woman, or women claim they were even civilized even then. So, it was a caveman or some smart caveman or a cave woman came up with this idea of cooking their food with fire. What a difference it's made to our lives. Hello? Huh? Can you imagine? I know this… I think last 24 hours has been Shabbat and you don't light fire, is that correct? Okay. So I see a lot of people cursing, there is no hot milk, there is no hot this, all right? When there was no fire, using fire at all for cooking, and somebody came up with that idea, how fantastic an idea, isn't it? But I want to tell you, nearly 1 billion years ago, a very smart algae or a fungi, we do not know which one. Just like we don't know whether it's a caveman or a woman, we do not know whether it was a fungi or an algae, but one smart fungi or an algae came up with the idea of cooking their food with the perpetual energy of the sun. This phenomena today we call as photosynthesis. Before the phenomena of photosynthesis started on this planet, the oxygen level in our atmosphere was a shade over 1%. Today it is 21%. It is because of this 21% oxygen in the atmosphere, you and me are breathing, you and me are alive, you and me were made. And every other complex life form was made on this planet only because these organisms came up with this brilliant idea of cooking their food with solar energy. So I'm saying who we are today is only a consequence of their activity. They are not here because of us, we are here only because of them. And in the last 1,000 years, we have reduced the photosynthesis on this planet by 85%. What's our plan? Hello? What the hell is our plan for life? We're living as if like we're the last generation. And many young people also call themselves Generation Z, that scares me. It sounds like the last generation. Don't call yourself Generation Z, call yourself Alpha, call yourself whatever. Don't call yourself Z because that is a scary thing. But we could be heading that way if we don't do the right things. So people immediately ask, Sadhguru, is the world going to end? See, this is the biggest problem in human mind. They want a prediction. Only idiots who don't have a plan and have the determination to execute a plan come up with predictions. Hello? Tell me, do you want a prediction or shall we make a plan that we will live well? We need a plan and we need a relentless commitment to see that the plan is executed. But everybody asks for a prediction, Sadhguru, will the world end? The world will not end, that is the problem. If the world did end, all problems are over. Hello? Yes, it's over, isn't it? It is just that it will go into a slow fade. Fade is going to be very, very painful. The problem with us is just 60, 70 years. 70 years we've eaten well, 2 generations, and we've forgotten what is a famine. Everywhere in the world there were famines 70 to 80 years ago. In India, in 1942, a famine took 3.2 million people. In 4 months, 3.2 million people died. Not by a bomb or bullet, slow fade. It is the most painful way to die is a famine, starving yourself to death. As this happens, human beings will lose all their humanity and do terrible things to themselves and to each other. There have been situations around the world, I'm telling you, where people have cut the limbs of their own children and eaten to survive, because that is how it is when the hunger is not quenched for months on end. We should never again drive humanity in that direction, but unfortunately we are driving humanity in that direction. By 2045, it's expected, every responsible scientist is clearly pointing, we will be producing 40% less food on the planet and our population will be over 9 billion. People tend to think, oh, in my country there is no such problem. You need to understand, once there is real food shortages, whoever has the biggest guns will take the food. Hello? Not because you have the food you're going to eat it. Whoever has the biggest guns will take the food. This is the way it's going to be. Well, I'm not saying right now we are a very civilized world, we're still a little bit of a bully world, but we will become a horribly bully world once food shortages begin to happen. And in the last 50 years, there have been 30 wars in Africa. Out of these, 27 wars were fought for fertile land. They're expecting by 2035, there will be dozens of civil wars across the world because of food shortages. Is this the place where we want to leave our children and go? What kind of people are we, really? This is a time, this is a moment in history. We have to decide what kind of people are we. Are we people who are concerned about… because it's intrinsic and natural, it's not a philosophy, it's not a morality, it is not an ideology that you want your children to live better than yourself, is not taught to you by religion or philosophy. It is intrinsic to human being. The moment you have a child, you want your child to live better than yourself, yes or no? But right now, we are taking away the foundations of the possibility of good life for them if we destroy the soil at the rate at which we are destroying. When I say destroying the soil at the rate at which we are destroying, the UN FAO says that every year, on an average, 27,000 species of organisms are going extinct. At this rate, if you go, in another 35 to 40 years, we will reach a place where even if you want to revive the soil, you cannot. But right now, we are in this challenging and privileged moment that if we make up our minds and take the necessary action, in the next 10 to 15 years, we can make a significant turnaround. This is why the urgency, and this is why it is very, very important that we stand up and show who we are. So, shall I go and fix my kitchen garden? Because this is a fashionable thing. I'm composting my vegetable waste. How much vegetable waste do you have per day? 500 grams. Oh, great, it's very cute of you. But it's not a solution. Because when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to soil, when it comes to soil ecology, our national borders mean nothing, because microorganisms operate as a global system. So, this is my piece of cake, that is your piece of cake, this is a human problem. Planet is not a cake for us to cut and think it is all separated. For administrative purposes, for political purposes, we might have formed nations. But for life purpose, there is no such thing as nation, there is no such thing as national borders. People are talking about doctors without borders. I'm asking you, are you beings without borders? Are you a life without borders? Unfortunately, maybe we still can't be people without borders, but at least we're life without borders. Hello? Because that's the way life happens. The only way we can see the continuum of life process is that it has to be addressed globally. But when we say globally, there is no such authority to make a global policy because pieces of geography are held by nations. I'm glad to know that tomorrow there is a soil policy, or what is it called? Climate policy coming up, which includes soil, I believe. Yes. No, because I'm asking this question because in major conferences in the world which hold many nations or almost all the nations arrive and they talk for weeks and weeks, the word soil is not mentioned. This is the reason why Save Soil movement is very important. I'm asking you, you've heard of climate change, you've heard about global warming, you have heard about fossil fuel burning, this, that, but have you heard people talking about soil with the same? It's not happened simply because if you knock on the oil industry, it'll spill dollars. If you knock on the automobile industry, it'll spill dollars. If you knock on coal industry, it'll spill dollars. If you try to knock the farmer, you will get hit. So nobody. So this is not about farmer has to make the change right now. It is not that we are expecting him to do it. It is important there is a policy where enshrining soil as an important living entity in our nations is most vital. Why the soil policies are most important is, see, today I just went to your Jaffa today morning. The old cities of every nation or every city has an old part, generally the more ancient cities have older parts. If you go to these parts, you will see homes are built in such a way where there is no concept of a window, wall to wall, wall to wall. Yes or no? In almost every city. But in the newer part of the city, you cannot build like that because there are urban laws. If you have 10,000 square feet of land, you can't build a 10,000 square feet of building. There is some law, maybe depending on each city, 6,000, 7,000 you can build, you can't build the whole space. If you build more, they will come and demolish it. But till now, in most nations or almost all nations in the world, if you have 100 acres of land, you can plow every inch of it and in 10-15 years' time turn it into a desert. Nobody will ask you, why have you done this? So we need laws to say that if you own agricultural land, minimum 3 to 6% organic content must be there, because that minimum is needed to keep the microorganisms alive. We are only thinking of soil as a resource. This is tragic. This is for me it is so unaesthetic. I'm saying, we have all fed upon our mother's breast. Do we call her a resource or is she the source of our life? Hello? So soil is the source of our life. It is not a resource for you to use and finish it off. And soil is not our property, it's a legacy that's come to us from generations. It's extremely important, we pass it on that way to future generations. Right now, that is in danger, and UNFAO is saying that the food that we eat today, I want you to be conscious of this, not to make you feel guilty, but it's very important we are conscious of it. The food that we eat today is not even the food that belongs to this little child. It is the food that belongs to the unborn child. An unborn child means the most defenseless life. Hello? An unborn child is the most defenseless life. Eating up the food of that unborn child, are we that kind of people? Hello? Are we that kind of people? But right now, that is a fact. We are eating up the food of the unborn child, and it can be fixed in the next 10-15 years' time. What should I do? What should I do? Roll up my sleeves. No, that's not the point. When you live in a democratic country, you have a vote, that's your business, I leave it to you, but you have a voice. Your voice is most important. I want 3 to 4 billion voices to speak about soil, not about me, not about this moment. Talk about soil for the next few days. Hello? Well, Israel claims it's very high-tech, all of you. Hey, you have a smartphone or a dumb phone? Smartphone. Oh, see, normally you call somebody smart only when they're smarter than you. Hello? Anyway, you have a smartphone for a companion. If you want to send a few silly messages to somebody, do that. I'm not against it, but you need to understand this instrument is a powerhouse. If you are committed, if you know what to do, if you are committed to create what you want in this world, you alone, I'm saying a single person, you can reach 3 to 4 billion people. It may take a little time. But there's many of you, hello? If you make up your mind, spend just 15 to 20 minutes a day. The people who are in this hall can reach 3 to 4 billion people in the next 30 days. Possible or not? You shouldn't use your hands like this, you must… Yes. Do whatever, okay? Go do a jig on the street, do whatever you want to do. But I'm saying, this is our time. This is our time on the planet. What we want must happen, isn't it? Because our time on this planet is brief, very brief, unless you're very miserable. I'm saying this because, see, on a certain day you're very joyful, 24 hours, poof, went away like a moment, isn't it? Another day, a little like that, 24 hours feels like many years. So if you're joyful, your life will get over like that. Only miserable people can have a long life. Hello? This is the problem with joy, it gets over too soon. Misery lasts always. So, this is our time on the planet. You know this chant, what I did in the beginning, was it Hebrew? No, it didn't sound like that. You didn't understand. So let me tell you what it means. It simply means this, that our life is just a combination of time, a certain amount of time, and a certain amount of energy. That's all it is. As we are sitting here, time is rolling away. Hello? This tick, tick, tick. You know those girls who are doing, huh? Time is rolling away. It is not the clock which is ticking, it's our life ticking away. Hello? Since you came and sat here, you're about an hour and a half closer to the grave. Yes, you are. If you do some yoga, you can push it a little bit, but you cannot avoid it. I have some secrets from my great-grandmother. So time is not in our control, it just rolls away for all of us. But how we manage our life energies is in our hands. If you raise your life energies to a certain level of intensity, what somebody does in 10 years, you can do in 1 year. So if both of you live for 100 years, in terms of impact, it feels like you lived for 1,000 years. This is something a human being can do. You can't roll back time. Did you ever… yesterday got wasted, so you rolled it back and lived it again? No such thing. I've been petitioning, 24 hours are never enough for me. I've been petitioning for at least 3 to 4 hours extra. Dumb silence, no response. I deserve 4 hours extra, hello? But no response. So time is ruthlessly democratic. No matter who the hell you are, it's rolling away, rolling away, rolling away. Yes or no? If you want to ride this time well, if you want to ride the cycle of time really well, it's extremely important that you take charge of your life energies and manage it the way you want. If you do that, you can definitely ensure the pleasantness of your experience, the profoundness of your experience, and the impactfulness of your activity, because this is all you have in your life. If you sit here, you can have a pleasant experience to start with, then you can make it very profound experience to be here, and activity-wise, you can make yourself impactful. Activity is only meaningful if it's impactful, otherwise what's the point of activity? Hello? Whatever we may do. And life, we may think we are seeking many things. Well, you may seek education, you may seek love, you may seek marriage, you may seek children, you may seek wealth, fame, but essentially, you are seeking pleasantness of experience. Hello? Somebody will say it is not at all possible here, only in heaven it is possible. All the best. Because I have people like this around me also, and they come to me and say, we are a volunteer organization, over 5,600 full-time volunteers, over 17 million part-time volunteers. Today I am adding 3,400 more. And people are saying, oh, Sadhguru, he's so horrible, I can't work with him, she is impossible, I can't work with her. I say, see, in this world, there are only such people. This kind of horrible person, that kind of horrible person, that kind of horrible person, all horrible people. But if you know what you're doing is very significant, learn to work with these horrible people. But if you want to work with perfect people, you must go to heaven and today. Because right now, this is most important, we come together as humanity because this has been the miserable nature of our history. We are always looking, how is this guy different from me? He has no hair, so he is different. He is different race, he is different religion, he is different nationality, this, that, all kinds of things. Every possible way to make differentiations and discriminations. And now this was okay when we were fighting with sticks and stones. Somehow, 1 or 2 will die and we forget about them and live on. Unfortunate, but that's how it's been. But now we are so super empowered as human beings. If we still think the only way to solve issues is by confrontation, well, see, already people… we had in 20th century, we had World War I, World War II, now people are talking about the third, number 3. Hello, shamelessly. Hello? Most shamelessly, because when World War I happened, people said, never again we'll fight a war. And within 30 years, they were at it again, on a scale and misery that I'd never seen before, that kind of stuff. I don't have to say anything to you people. you know what it means. But at that time we made up our minds, whatever League of Nations, then United Nations, we said never again we will fight. We are mature enough to sit down and debate our problems, and that's idea, right? We did not believe that there will be no problems. There will be problems among human beings, there will be disputes, but we will be mature enough to sit down, talk it out and settle it, not shoot at each other. That was the idea of United Nations. But since 1944, how many damn wars have we fought in this world? Endless number, all right? Nobody knows the count. I'm sure nobody in this hall knows how many wars we have fought since 1944. Even if you're a student of history, you still don't know because that many have happened. And when the 2000 came, young people said, oh, we are millennials. I don't know what that means anyway. We are millennials, we are technology people, we are information technology, which is a knowledge generation. We're not going to do those wars. Since 2000, how many wars? There's not been a single year without a war somewhere, been going on and on. So, we need to understand this. It's extremely important as human beings, instead of searching for differences, we need to find some common factors, some common denominators. If you do not understand what is the all-unifying cosmic consciousness, at least you understand this much. The soil that you walk upon is where you come from. The soil that you walk upon is what nourishes you every day. The soil that you walk upon is where you will go when you fall dead. Hello? Unless you're booked with that $1.7 million deal, you know this? Somebody started an enterprise, if you pay $1.7 million, when you die, whenever that is, they will take your body and leave it in the space. Because there is no oxygen or microbial activity there, your body will not deteriorate, it'll be the same way and it'll be floating around all over the space. You will not know because you're dead. But somebody may pick it up someday. I'm saying, if you have not done anything sensible in your life, at least when you die, bloody get back to the soil. That is the least we can do, hello? That is the least we can do, because this body is just a loan. This is just what we borrowed from this planet. And the topsoil is the cream of this planet. These 15 to 18 inches, these zillions of lives, these are manufacturing life all the time. And in many societies, they're calling this incredible magic. I call it magic because even if you sow death, it sprouts life. There is no other thing like this anywhere in the known universe. This magic people call as dirt. If that is dirt, all of us are just dirt bags. Hello? Yes or no? So what should I do, what should I do? This is what you should do. Those of you who are pointing your phones at me, I know you're good at it, you must start using it to enhance the message. Not about me, not even about the moment. Say something about soil. I don't know anything. Please, there are UNFAO websites, there are many other soil websites. There is enormous information, but that may be a little too technical and complicated for many people. There is savesoil.org, which is simple, put in a certain way that it is simple for people to grasp it. Read a few things, spend some time to know what life is made of, and ensure that you are part of turning this around. It's very, very important, because we want 3 to 4 billion people to speak. Why these 3 to 4 billion people? This is just this. See, most of the nations are ruled democratically in the world. What a democratic nation means is, what is in Israel, is it 4 years or 5 years? 1 year. I know that. That's a political commentary. What is the term? 4. So you elect a government for 4-year term. Suppose you were the Prime Minister of this country. Please, don't… see, it's become a pastime for everybody to always make fun of politicians, say they're bloody idiots, they're this, they're that, everywhere in the world, unfortunately. We need to understand this. If they are such bloody idiots, we gave our nation to their hands, what kind of idiots we must be? I'm asking. So, I want you to understand, if you were the Prime Minister of this nation or any nation, if we gave you a 4-year term, 4-year mandate to do something, would you naturally focus on doing something which bears results in 2, 3, 4 years' time? Or would you focus on something which will take 15 to 20 years to bear results? Please tell me honestly. Yes, you will try to do something in the term. Because first of all, a government was not elected to do something fantastic. A government was elected to fulfill people's mandate. What is the people's mandate? Just tell me in which nation. Give me an example of one nation in the world where 60% of the population have clearly expressed, we are concerned about long-term well-being of our nation, our soil, our ecology, the future of our children. No, you're asking for one silly tax benefit, you're getting it. You must be happy. This is what every population is asking and that's what you're getting. It's time 60% of the population stands up and says, we are concerned about the soil, we are concerned of the future of our nations and our children. You think a government can ignore it? Hello? Because democracy is a number game. Numbers are the only currency in a democracy. You people must give the mandate to the government. If you invest long-term, we're with you. If you ask for short-term things, they'll do short-term things, because after all, the term you're given is 4 years and you said 1 in Israel. It's extremely important. Citizens in a democratic nation understand your vote is not the only thing, your responsibility is not done. Your voice, a responsible voice is important. This is not in anger, this is not in resentment, this is not a fight, this is not an agitation, this is not a protest. This is an expression of our love and responsibility for the life that we are and the life that is around us and the life that should be on this planet beyond us. Generation Z, please change the alphabet. Scares me. At least X, Y, do something. Now, as dire as it looks, nature has a tremendous resilience. We can put this back. We can put this back in the next 8 to 12 or 15 years max if the necessary policies are made today. I must tell you, policy making is of a certain process. It has a certain cycle. It doesn't happen, oh, we said this, we tweeted, nothing happened. That's not the way to look at it. Let me tell you what's been happening with me and policy in India and things like that. We started this nearly 27, 28 years ago. I've been talking about soil for 30 years. Everybody says, Sadhguru, what you're doing is fantastic. It's really great, Sadhguru, and they go to sleep. Yes, this is the way of the world. This is why it's at the age of 65, 30,000 kilometers is not a joy ride. Your ass will fall off, huh? Yes. So, what has to happen? What has to happen for us to wake up, I'm asking, as human beings? Because we need to understand, is sleep a crime? Hello? Is sleeping a crime? No. But if you sleep through your life, you'll end up in a disaster. It'll be worse than a crime. Crime will hurt a few people. Disaster does terrible things. If you sleep through your life, you will be a disaster, either as an individual or a whole humanity. If we sleep through problems, we will become a disaster or not. Right now, that is where we are. We can't sleep through this. We need to act. What should we do? Is it something so tremendous? Do we need new technologies? I want you to understand there's only two ways, there are only two sources of organic content. Why organic content? Organic content essentially means we are serving breakfast, dinner for the microorganisms. Why are they important? Because 60% of your very body is microorganisms, only 40% is genetic material, do you know? They're all buzzing inside, without them you wouldn't exist. This little girl when I was in Sofia, this little girl comes to me and says, Sadhguru, 8-year-old girl, how old are you? Little girl like that, okay. So she comes to me and says, Sadhguru, I want to do save soil, I want to do this, that, but my mother won't let me. I said, you tell your mother she's only 20%. She has only 20% say in everything because her genetic material is only 20%. Your father, another 20%. 60% is microbial life. I want you to know the soil that you walk upon is what you carry here. The very body is soil. The question is only, will we get it now or will we get it when we are buried? That is the only question, you can decide. Anyway, you will get the point one day, either from me today or from the maggots, you will get the point. But if you get it today, we can do something significant. There will be no rewards for this, no awards for this, because if you mitigate a disaster, nobody will ever know that you mitigated a disaster. Only if a disaster happens and then you go and give your shoulder to the crying people, that you may get awards. But if you mitigate a disaster, people think nothing happened. But it's okay, hello? It's okay. As a generation, we turn this around, that is the most important thing. It is possible to do it now, a simple policy. I'm talking about, because economic minister is here and he's looking at the time, I know it's late. Let me just say this, articulate this. This policy we are asking for is, first thing is separate soil from other issues. Do not link it with fossil fuel, do not link it with fertilizer usage, do not link it with pesticide usage, do not link it with anything where industries and businesses are involved, because then it'll go into endless debate. Do you want to have more conferences or do you want a solution? This is the important thing. Separate the soil as an issue. This is one-point agenda. One-point agenda is this. Right now, on an average, it's like this. In Northern Europe, the soil organic content is around 1.48% on an average. This is the highest in the world, unfortunately. And Southern Europe is just over 1.1, 1.2%. United States is 1.25 to 1.3% average. Africa is 0.3%, which is on the verge of desertification, big-time desertification happening. India is 0.68%. This region, because partly it is desert, your averages will be very, very low, but it's okay, because part of it is given as desert, the agricultural soil may be reasonably better. I don't have to say too many things to Israel because this is a population which has converted a desert into fertile soil when the rest of the world is busy converting the rest of the world is busy converting fertile soil into deserts. Yes, desertification is happening at a pace where in the last 25 years, we have lost 10% of the earth's land to desertification, 10% of the land. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just look at the Google Maps year on year, how the desert is spreading everywhere. So, what's wrong with the desert? Nothing. It is just that there is nothing happening. Not much life-generating activity happening, that's all the problem. If you add organic content to the sand, life will start. If you take it away, life will recede. This is all it is. So why is it organic content disappeared? Simply this, because there are only two sources of organic content on the planet, plant life and animal life. There is no other technology. You can get technologies to enhance application processes, but There are only two sources, this must be very clear to everybody. There is only plant life and animal life. There is simply no other way to generate organic content. You're getting very serious, can I tell you a little joke? This happened in 2060. A few scientists, shall I make them Israeli? Sir, with your permission? A few Israeli scientists asked for an appointment with God, and they got it, of course, you know. So they went there and they told him, "Hey old man, you done really well with creation, but now everything that you can do, we can also do, so it's time you retire." God said, "Oh, is that so? What is it that you can do? Here, just have a look, we'll give you a demo." They dug up a little soil, made a vague image of a human child, did so many things, and the child came alive. God said, "Okay, that's very impressive, but first get your own soil." There is no substitute for soil. There is simply no substitute for soil. So what is the policy? The policy is this: whatever is your organic content right now, each nation can decide how many years, how much incentive, whatever, but you create an incentive that if a farmer gets his farm to 3% organic content, which is the minimum needed for all these organisms to reasonably be well-nourished, if he gets it to 3%, he will get a certain incentive. If the incentive is attractive enough, then most farmers will anyway go for it. Once the farmer goes for this, the business and industry must get into the act and get him the carbon credits in the world. Right now, the carbon credit system is so complex, most farmers are not able to figure it out. It is just that if you test 10 random points in your field and show 3% organic content, they must be eligible for carbon credit. This is the second level of incentive for him. The third level of incentive is, let's say you produce an apple in your farm, now you are producing an apple at 1% organic content in the soil, what nutrients it has? If it is 3% organic content, what nutrients it has? We know the science already. So if it has this many micronutrients extra, naturally it will sit on a higher shelf in the marketplace. So you may have to pay a little extra, but instead of eating 5 apples, you need to eat 1 apple to get the same nourishment. But if my farm is 6% organic content, then my apple will sit on a higher shelf and it'll cost more, but instead of eating 10 apples, you have to eat 1 apple. That's the difference it'll make in our food consumption. So these 3 levels of incentives need to happen in every nation, otherwise farmers will not go for it. You know, in India right now, 63% of India's population is in farming. When we made a survey, we realized not even 2% of the farmers want their children to become farmers. This is a disaster. In another 25 years, when this generation passes, who will grow food for these massive populations that are growing in the world? So, it is extremely important. We are again going to nations which has less population and more land and trying to convert them into industrial agriculture. Right now, everybody is crying about the war because nearly 30% of the wheat is coming from those 2 regions. One is being bombed, another is banned, and wheat production, 30% of the wheat production is missing in the world. And already World Food Program is saying at least half a dozen nations will go into severe famine in the next few months, simply because that 30% of the food is missing and richer nations are buying it up. Wherever they can buy it up, wherever it's available, the poorer nations will starve. This year, at least 6 to 7 nations could go into famine simply because of this one war. This idea of growing food where there are less people and more land, industrialize it, grow it for 25, 30 years, ruin that and go somewhere else. We've been doing this for a long time. This is not the way. Where people are, food should grow. It's very, very important. If this has to happen, the farmer should earn, if not more, As much as a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, a farmer should earn as much, otherwise young people are not going to stay. I know, it's late for you. I'll tell you one of my great-grandmother was an expert storyteller. So we are there for 30 to 40 days. In the vacation time is the only time when we meet her. It's about 36 of us, all cousin brothers and sisters living in various cities. We all arrive at our ancestral home and it's one rollicking madness happening there. So in the evening, she'll start the story. Everybody will gather. And she's talking about a princess who starts combing her hair. By the time the comb reaches the end of her hair, our vacation is over. We say, what's next, what's next? You say, come next time. And she's over 100, she says, come next time. What do? Anyway, this is one story which stuck with me. This happened. There was a farmer who worked hard and broke the land and grew in those days. Then he had two sons. Both the boys worked hard and worked with everything. Then the time came, in those days in India, the land was never split among people. It was only the produce which was split. So, when the father came to his deathbed, he told the two boys that both of you, no matter what happens, must take 50% of the produce each. Never there should be a dispute about this. The boys said, yes, definitely. Then one boy got married and he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children. And the other boy never got married, so he had no children, he was alone. But both were getting 50% of the produce. So one day one worm entered one of the boys' minds. You know, worms sometimes enter in your head, do funny things. They should be in the earth, but unfortunately they're in people's heads. So a worm entered and this guy who had 5 children and a wife thought, I have a wife and 5 boys and they will grow up and break more land for me and I will always be well, but my brother has nobody. In his old age, what will he do? So he must get little more than me. So in the night, secretly, from his store, grain store, he takes a sack of grain every night and walks quietly in the darkness and puts it in his brother's grainage. After some time, the same worm entered the other brother's head also, and he started thinking, I'm just alone, what do I do with all these earnings? My brother has 5 children and a wife to take care of, he should have more, but he's so proud he won't take it. So in the night, he started taking a sack of grain every night and putting it in his brother's grainage. This exchange, reverse osmosis was happening for many years. One day, the townspeople wanted to build a temple in the village and they were looking for a site. But they couldn't find it at all, they were searching, they couldn't find a good site because in India, a temple site is not just chosen by its advantage of location, it has to have a certain energy, it has to have a certain sanctity. They did not find any such place, so they were continuing to look. But it so happened, by then both these brothers have grown old and one night they were carrying these sacks and came and they saw each other. What was happening all these years, this reverse osmosis, his grain is going into this guy's storage, this guy is putting it back there. They looked at each other and they avoided and they continued their journey and put the sacks there and went back. And then they died. After they died, the townspeople felt the place where they met on that night, carrying sacks of grain, trying to put it in the other person's grainage without the other person knowing about it, and when they looked at each other, they felt so embarrassed that they looked away and continued their act. They thought, this is the best place to build a temple. Let's build the damn temple in this world. That's the temple we need. That is the temple we need right now, of humanity. We need a temple of humanity. We have spoken a lot about divinity, nothing to say about it. I'm not saying anything, questioning anybody's beliefs or anything, it's fine. But we need temples of humanity, because I've been looking, traveling around the world, whenever I say bliss, people will say divine bliss. If you say love, they say God is love. If you say joy, they say divine joy. It looks like all the good things about human beings have been exported to heaven. These things are very useful here on this planet. If you're joyful, if you're blissful, if you're loving, it's very useful and wonderful here. Hello? And anyway, if you are going to heaven, at least practice being joyful and loving, because there it is required. At least here you must practice, otherwise what will you do there? So, the wonderful people of Tel Aviv, do I have it with you? In one voice, when I say 1, 2, 3, when I say 1, 2, 3, in one voice say, save soil, let us make it happen. Before that, should I tell you a story? This happened in Tel Aviv 5,000 years ago. On that day, people did not know much about the moon, and they thought because it changes shape and size and the shades are changing all the time, it looked like people were moving there, so people believed that there are people on the moon. And they wanted to communicate. Because they had no other means at that time, they decided they will all come on the rooftops of their homes and buildings, and some wise men advised, all of us in one voice will say, who? And they will respond, let's see what they say. Just asking, who are you? But when that moment was just coming, I was also here at that time. When that moment was just coming, I thought, this is a unique moment. All these wonderful people, they are going to say, oh, such a unique moment, everybody in one voice saying this. I'm just a small voice, what is there? What about me? I'm such a small man. Let me just listen to this. So that moment came and it passed absolutely silently. Are you still that kind of people? 1, 2, 3. Let us make it happen. Thank you very much. It's a soil anthem. This very body is soil. My body, your body, everybody is just soil body. The magic of soil is it turns death into life. Depleted soils will not quench the fire of hunger. Unquenched hunger can burn the very world. This is a generational responsibility. Save soil. Let's make it happen.
להציל את האדמה, זו החיים שלי ושלך, להציל את האדמה, בשבילי ובשבילך.
People of Tel Aviv, the wonderful people of Tel Aviv, if you enhance the message in… One second, I want to tell you this. Tomorrow, I'm going to Ivory Coast to speak at the talk, COP15, where 197 nations are participating. In the next 1 month, if you… just the people who are here, if you make this number touch 3 to 3.5 billion people, I promise you in 12 months' time I'm back here to do a spiritual process.